Hi, everybody. It's really good to be here with you in this gathering that you're having. My name's Karina, and I live in Sydney in an inner city place called Surry Hills. I moved into this place about 6 years ago now, thinking that God wanted me to plant a church. However, when I moved in, God said to me, instead of planting a church, just love the people in your neighborhood. So that's what I did. I spent the last 5.5 years or so doing that with my husband. We actually started up a little organization called Neighbourhood Matters, which resources churches to think about their neighbourhoods and to love their community. We find that a lot of churches are inwardly focused, and so it's often a surprise to them to discover that they've been placed in that context as a part of the ecology of the neighbourhood. And so God expects them to steward, God expects us to steward the places where we live. So when I moved into my suburb here in Surry Hills, I began by practicing some of the disciplines that I wrote about in my book called Urban Spirituality. So what I did was I prayer walked the streets of my neighbourhood. I'd hang out in all of those third spaces, and get to know people. I researched the history of the place. And so I asked, what are the tensions in this place? What are the signs of hope? Where are there signs of decay? And I also read scripture. And I asked God to show me what he was saying about this place. I got involved in local projects and I partnered with locals. I connected with artists and business people and joined local groups. Basically, I just showed up to all the neighbourhood events. And so I joined the local neighbourhood centre, and now I'm on the board there. We actually also ran a course in the neighbourhood centre called the Happiness Lab. And this was a course where people would come together and talk about what living a flourishing life looks like. So we looked at topics every week like kindness and gratitude and forgiveness and resilience and relationships and self-care. And people who came were not Christian, but they were searching for something. And so slowly throughout all of this, these connections and these courses that we ran and these projects and these partnerships that we formed, we began to build up this network of people and friends that we could connect with and do life with. And so that's what church looks like for us. We meet up with people at local pubs or cafes. We go for walks with people, particularly in COVID times where we're encouraged to get out in the fresh air. And through all of this, we have meaning of life conversations or faith conversations. We have fun together, we socialize, we connect with one another, we rely on one another for support in these difficult times. And all this happens within the context of our local neighbourhood. So we get involved in community projects that build justice in the community where we live. Now, none of these friends are Christian, but we're always having God conversations with them. My husband and I are always asking ourselves, what faith conversations have we had with people today? Who are we asking to join us as we live out this story of the reign of God in our lives? Recently, and this is just recently, about 2 months ago, we started up a faith gathering in our home. And what we did is we invited all these people that we have been building relationships with for over 5 years now, people that we've been connecting with. And we said to them that we're going to start a monthly gathering where we just talk about different topics to do with spirituality, faith, life, and justice. So, we've been choosing very broad topics like home. What does home mean to you? Or rest. What does it mean to pause from the franticness of life? Strangers. Do we trust strangers? What's the good thing about talking to strangers in our neighbourhood? The future. Are we fearful of the future? Are we worried about the future? Do we have hope about the future? So they're very broad topics, but with lots of opportunity to speak about God's values into these topics. And we said to all of our friends, you don't have to be a Christian to join. Please just come from your own faith perspective, or even if you don't have faith, but we will be coming to you from a broadly generous Christian perspective. It was a big step for us to actually say that to people and to invite them into our home. But after all of those years of relationship building, they trusted us enough to come. And so they came, and our gatherings are so much fun. We share a meal together. We talk about these life issues, and we explore how any of what is happening in our world could possibly be related to anything to do with God. And we've got a mix of people. We have people who would not normally go into church and who are in fact very anti-church. These are very skeptical people about Christianity, and they have a very negative view about Christianity and the church. They would never walk into a church, no matter how great and beautiful our signs are that we put up. They don't feel comfortable there. A lot of them are either transgender or from the LGBT community. So we want to create this safe space for people to explore their faith, or what they see as being faith. It's a place for people to meet, to eat together, to slow down, to engage in the community, and to get a chance to talk about spirituality, God, and justice issues. And of course, to engage in those justice issues in the community. So the people who come along are very skeptical about church and Christianity, but they do love good relationships. They love community, and they are committed to their neighbourhood, and they want a place that they can safely explore life issues together. So we are hoping to provide that place. That's what church looks like for us.